But I'm gonna put a link in the chat soon. Like if you're from America, you're from the Caribbean, and all of these places, perhaps we need to really talk and so that because these are some cultures that we've allowed to go on, for so long. Another question I want to ask, another question I want to ask is, the link is in the chat room, just in case you want to call in. Now, another question I want to ask is, who is to be blamed? How did we get to the point where we now how did we get to the point where we allowed the government to be the one to decide and put certain of these laws, you know, to be the one to decide and put certain of these laws, over our children? You understand? Like the government now decide what and what not should happen to our own kids. How do they know what is best for our kids? I'm just putting the question out there because I'm asking, if your parents out there and all of these things, because we are setting our children, and because our children is a future generation, we're setting them for failures. Because how do we know that the government have the best decision for us and our kids? Why are we not questioning it? Why should the system, when it comes to the governmental system, right? Why is the whole process not being reviewed? Maybe every year they review the whole process of the setup, the government, the whole governmental system. Why is this still? Why is it that no one should talk about the government? Why is it that it's always going to be like that? The people who set up this standard, the people who set up the government, how the government have been set up, that's how it's going to be. Why are we not talking about the government and reviewing, this system? This is one question I'm asking. Now, secondly, so we have another person here. Gay, okay. That's what I wanted to see. But you can, if you don't want to show your face now, then you can go offline, no problem. Okay. So I'm gonna bring you right in. I'm gonna bring you in.
Yo, what's good, Queen?
How you doing? You're very much welcome.
I'm good. Love your show. Love your show. Hey, what's
Thank
up?
you.
That's my other queen right there. How you doing, sis? I don't know. She can hear me? She can hear me? Hey, how you doing? Oh, this is a good topic. And I want to just weigh on it real quick. Over here in the United States, we dealing with the public school system, which is part of the government.
Okay.
And their job is to indoctrinate our children to brainwash us, to make white better, right? Because I'm going to tell you my experience. I never learned African history. For some reason, it just wasn't allowed. But you'll learn a lot of Greek, a lot of Rome, a lot of American history. The only thing they teach you is about slavery, and they try to water down one of our heroes, which is Dr. King, and they try to make him seem like he was for everybody, which he wasn't. So these are the things that they would tell us to weaken us, right? We never learned about, ancient Kemet or West Africa. We never learned none of that. All the heroes. I had to learn that from. I had to read books, self-education, pretty much. Now, my parents, and the other thing too, you was talking about the reason why some of our parents can't home train, right? Or homeschool, I should say, homeschool. Well, they make it hard, right? They make it hard for our parents because now two parents got to go to work. Then you got to deal with the situation where fathers are not in the home. They either locked up or they get killed for some reason because with all this police shootings and all this other nonsense. So they keep the fathers out the house, or two parents got to work. So who gonna watch your kids? You know what I'm saying? So now we got to depend on the school system because they do give us free lunch and all that. They give the kids free lunch and all that stuff. But but another thing too, when you live in an urban community, right, the urban neighborhood where it's mostly African people, the textbooks are as old, and it's not, they don't upgrade like they do with the white schools. They get the best of everything. So the segregation still exists over here, believe it or not. It's very segregated. So I remember when I was in high school, we had a driving ed course, right? That teach black people how to drive. They took it out. Guess what they put it in there? A child a daycare center for children who had for young teens who got pregnant. So they had put a nursing school for teenage moms. How's that benefiting us? So that's encouraging young girls. Say, yo, we could watch, you could have a child and we could watch it while you go to school. That's not, and the parents over here, for some reason, they're, black people over here, they so dependent on the government. It's ridiculous. I don't know. It's just they just feel that they can't do without the government. They can't do without it because they feel like some of us feel, some of black people over here think that, well, since we built this country, we should get something out of it, and this is how they think. So, but what they give us is garbage, and it's not helping us. And this is the reason why black folks over here do not own nothing. We don't own one skyscraper, and we are fighting for reparations. But the reparations is to, number one, to rebuild black families, and to send it, and to rebuild Africa. That's the whole purpose of reparations. Because if you look at the white Jews, guess what? That reparations they got, they go build Israel. So this is one of the reasons why they don't want to give us reparations. And the government have done everything it's especially during Jimmy Carter. They had passed a law so they want black people. They had that like a decree or a law during Jimmy Carter. He was the president when in the 70s, where black people cannot reconnect with black people in Africa. It was a law that they passed. So they did everything they could, even through media. They would show, and I know the sister, she knows what I'm talking about, where they show when they show Africa, they show the poor black kid with the flies on their face. They show stuff like that. Or if they show Africa, they always show a warlord that's chopping off the arms of people. So they does something with the psyche. And I never forget this. This is something that always burned in my head. I was watching this movie called Tarzan. In the beginning, this was in the 80s. And I never forget this. And they showed a gorilla, and he found a white baby. She had a baby on her back, right? So she had some food or whatever. She was deciding what food that she was going to give either to her own baby or to the white baby. Guess what this mother gorilla did? She killed her own baby to save this white baby. So as a black man, what do you think that's going to say to me? That even a gorilla from Africa will look after a white baby, a white child, than her own offspring. To me, I thought that was deep. So I'm sorry.
So
go ahead,
it's just a question. Like I'm literally interested because I've not really seen this movie you're talking about. So right. I want to know who are the producers. It's called what?
It's Tarzan. Sorry. You know what? Let's turn this fan off. The movie is called Tarzan. I don't know if have you ever heard of Tarzan?
No, I've not heard about it before. Okay. I just want to ask a question, particular concerning the movie. Like, who are the producers of this movie, and where did they get the concept from? that particular movie? Who are the producers?
I forgot the
Is
name
it
of the
from?
I forgot the name
Is
of
it,
it,
Are
but
you
I know
talking
the
about
producer
Walt
was white.
Disney?
Go.
is it from, is it from Hollywood,
Or are
It's
you talking
Hollywood,
about
yes.
from where?
Walt Disney or the
From
Johnny
Hollywood.
Weissmuller?
From,
Because
okay,
Tarzan was Johnny Weissmuller.
okay.
That
So
was
I
back during
think
my
that
time. The
that movie
Tarzan.
sh- okay. Okay, I think that should be a white man behind it, just like what you are talking about, right? So it's the whole concept. You see what they portray that movie. They put it to brainwash our people over there, just so they, it's really damaging mentally. If because you just said that, I was shocked because I've never seen such movie before, and how they portray that we are going to save and the African gorilla will save the white baby and kill their own child. You see, it's the same thing that they tell a story on our behalf. You understand? Which is just like, I give the example of a coin. It's all about the face of the coin, but you don't want to flip it over and see the other side. There are always two sides to the story. But
Right.
yet, most of us, even in this generation and in this time, we are choosing to believe one-sided story, a story that is coming from just one face. And that's the
Right.
Western mindset, They
Mhm.
always want to be the face of the story. They always want to be the one telling the story. Oh, I'm alive. Why should you come and talk about my story? You're
Exactly.
not there. I'm the
Mhm.
experience. I should be able to tell you the fact about whatever thing that has to do with me. You don't have no right to say that because you're not there. So whatever thing you're talking about is mere speculations.
Mhm.
This is where a lot of our people, they are working with this sickening mindset of the West. You see, they go about, talking about other people. The people are alive and they can tell you very well about their experience and about their story. So this is
Mhm.
why I'm doing what I'm doing, talking about the story of Africa or the history of Africa from an African perspective. But, pretty much our people choose a Western, perspective of the history of Africa coming
Right.
from the white historians. So you see what I'm
Mhm.
talking about. And now the white historians have always been the one telling our story. They have our artifacts telling, talking about. When I saw this, what is it called now? This gallery. I think that should be in the French country, right? So they have this white historian. They're talking about Ifa. They're talking about the Yoruba and the Benin kingdom and deity. And I'm beginning to wonder, like, this thing is here on the continent, is here in Nigeria. How have we come? Why are we silent about these things, allowing this white man the audacity of them to talk about our own kingdoms and our stories? Why we are here and very much alive? Why we can do this by ourselves? You see where I fought African men. I said, why are you alive? Alive, you're not dead yet, but then you allow another people to be telling you about your own stories,
Mhm.
your
Right.
experience in your own home. It makes no sense to me. You
Doesn't.
understand? So it doesn't
Mhm.
make sense to me. And like this movie, that's why I'm particular about what we watch, the kind of things that people we look up to, and all of these things. We should be mindful of what we listen to. These are all the programming involved. So back in Africa, they deprived us from learning about our history and the history of African Americans and those in the Caribbean and Brazil and all of these places. They don't want us to see. All they
Mm.
were showing us is white people, how beautiful that place is. But when they want to show us about our African Americans and all these people, they again is the brainwashing. They show bad things.
Mm.
They show
I
bad
heard about that.
things.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Exactly. So you see the games they were playing between the both parties, so that we can hate ourselves, we can fight ourselves. And sometimes when African migrants they come to the state or Europe, in all these places, they set us against ourselves. They are the
Mhm.
employers. They will
Mm.
employ an African migrant, and then African American will be angry that they are coming to take their jobs. But who is the employer? Who is employing these people? It
Mhm.
is the white man
Yeah.
setting you all against yourself. The African migrants are not going there to employ themselves to take jobs or do all of this. They're giving it because they know you'll be upset and you want to fight the wrong person. But you should be focusing on the real people that are there setting the laws, allowing these things. African migrants are not the only migrants. Other migrants from other places are also coming in and doing the same thing. But they know that our people, we will want to go towards our own all the time. It has always been like that. Fight our own, and we ignore every other person, but we are focused on our own, and we have energy for our own. You understand? So this is what they're doing. But the thing is, who is to be blamed? Did we allow it to come to this extent? How did we get it wrong that another person will be able to take care of our own children? It's the same thing with the health or medical institution. We are entrusting our lives in the hands of another person to treat us and take care of us. So Sister Rike, yeah, you want to say something, Sister Rike, one respond by the side, or brother, if you want, you can go on, please.
This brother, thanks for helping me out because I can tell you, a little what I know, even though that's because I'm older, I still don't know a lot. I'm learning as I go along. But it's so sad because of this division that has been put between all of us, the whole black race. And like I told you today, we were just talking about this today. All of the points, young man, that you talked about at AUF, I was just talking about this with a beautiful Nigerian sister myself. And I was saying how brainwashed that she is. You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to explain to her the best that I could. I was like, history is actually repeating this, so we're allowing this to happen to us all over again. We are fighting amongst each other, but we know who the culprit is. We know who they are. Like I told her, I don't no longer blame our white counterparts no more. You know why? Because now it falls on us. We became the new oppressors now. We are oppressing ourselves. So I can't blame them no more, but I know who started it. Guess what they did? That Willie Lynch letter is a prime example of what we suffering from still to today. We're going through the gender war amongst our men and our women. They put the women over the men to suppress our own men, where our men feel that they can't get up because they got us standing on their heads. They knew what they were doing. They put that division in us, but we don't have the mindset to deprogram ourselves because we constantly hear the same thing on TV every day. Every day. This person shot this person. This. Everything. And you sitting up there, you walking, you looking like this all day long. Zombified. It's time to snap out of slumber. It's time to wake up out of the sleep that we in before we perish. Before it's all over. I told my sister a while ago, we need our brothers and sisters as our allies. We need them just as much as they need us. If we become that superpower, the whole world know it's over when we take our throne back and run the world the way it was ran before, in peace and harmony.
That's right.
That's all I can say. That's my contribution.
It's facts. I have to definitely co-sign on that. Like I said, I learned. Like I said, I'm reading. One of my heroes is Marcus Garvey, and yes, Marcus Garvey. That's right. And he's definitely, he's from the Caribbeans, and he's always, he said our nationality, we African people. So he said something to co-sign what you said, sis. And he said that we have to change our conditions. We know how the enemy is.
Hmm.
We have
We
to learn
don't
from
need Jesus. We don't
no.
need Jesus to save
And
us and
that's
change
and
our
that's another
conditions.
thing I want to bring up. That's another thing I want to bring up. That's how they brainwashed it. That's how they got over here. That's how they brought us over here through religion. That called
Yes.
Christianity and Islam. That's what messed us up
Uh-huh.
because they want you to believe in this white Jesus. So
Uh-huh.
that's
They
the,
be
that's the
coming to
first thing
save
they
us.
do. Number one, and I know my other queen, African United Fortune. I know she agreed with me on this. What was the first thing they did before they shipped African people in other parts? What did they do? They changed your name because they know
Yes.
that your name meant something.
Yes. I'm
That's the
sorry.
first thing they did. And then they started
Yes.
pushing this Christianity on you. And when they got over here, they whipped us. They said you cannot use your name because they know your name meant something, and then you could not use your spirituality. We wasn't religious people. We're not religious people. We're spiritual people. Spirituality means it's something tangible. The
Hmm.
deities that we used to worship or whatever, we know they wasn't real, but they meant something. That's how we got our energy from. They like the god like the deity Ugan. He's the god of war, and they made us. And that's how we became warriors. See all this stuff,
Hmm.
and
But
this
they
is something our
using
people
our
don't.
stuff. They using our stuff against us. They know about
And they
the
whitewash it.
Ifa.
They whitewash it.
They
Yeah.
whitewashed it. Now you see the white counterparts calling on Yemen Yah and Shango and all that. They know it better than we know it.
Yep.
For I want to do a separate video when it comes to
Okay.
this particular stuff you're talking about. That they know about the Yamaya and all of these things. You will agree with me, Arika one, this one on side, that
Mhm.
like some of the Yoruba Babalawo, these people who has knowledge about these things like these deities, spirituality, and all of these things. These people are teaching white people all of these things. You understand? Because they did it in the past and they're doing it now. Because they're
Mhm.
all about what? The money. They don't care
Money.
about the future and the
Mm-mm.
future generation about that. I want to talk about these people so that you don't fall for people like this. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? They're
Mm.
all over YouTube selling false narrative, talking about all of these things. They're selling our knowledge to white people. They're teaching them. They're telling them how it works. They're showing them all of these things. And this is why I say you don't fall for people like this because they're fake.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So if you really want to get it, come right here on the continent, common ground, and and meet the right people. Don't fall for these people. They're all about the money.
Yes.
They sell this spirituality to these white people for money. And I begin
Mm-hmm.
to ask myself, when you send all of this knowledge, all of our secret, everything to these other people, how can we ever be free? This is what you did. Our ancestors did in the past. They taught them, they showed them, they teach them, and now they use the same thing to oppress us and still oppressing us. And this generation, they're doing the same. For what?
Mm-hmm.
For little change,
That's
little
right.
change.
That's right.
So I will be addressing that as a separate topic, though.
That's facts. And I just wanted to say this real quick that we're visual people, right? As Black people, we're visual people, and it plays with our psyche. So when they show us when we go to these churches, it's still like that today, sis. I'm telling you, it's still like that today. These Black churches, they have a white Jesus. So you have Black people are telling you to worship white. So and we are in a Black neighborhood. So why are so I'm in a Black neighborhood in an all Black school, but the education is all white. When I go to church, it's all white. So it's they use this they use religion and education as a part of a fear factor. Where if you don't worship, they use this you know, they pass certain laws so they can that's the reason why we don't in America we have no law to protect us. There's no law to protect it. They just passed the law protecting Asian people. We have no laws in this country. We have this president called Joe Biden. He's an asshole, and he hasn't passed no law to protect black people from the police or any other white extremists out there. But if we kill each other, they'll give us football numbers. Or if we shoot at a police officer, they'll give us football numbers. But if a white cop kill us, he's off the hook, or they give him a desk job, or if he do serve some time, he'll get maybe 5 years, or maybe a few months. They use certain things to use fear against us. So as soon as that this is when we start having all this, and when we start fighting back, they even use our own people, just like they did Malcolm X. What did the government do? They used black people to kill him. They did that to Marcus Garvey. They use our own people to destroy us. And like you said, sister, it's all about money. Our people sell out. They use money as a quick way as a form of come up. So I'm not afraid of white people's not my problem. It's our own people that do us that's trying to pull up the ladder, or they try to use or they want a quick come up.
They're the most dangerous. Black people are the most dangerous. Do you understand? Because they are the ones, because you don't even know, because you be having this thing, we're all one, we're family, we're all of these things, but then they have another agenda, the white agenda, because they will be the ones to carry out the game, the dirty work. Because right now, white people don't need to come and colonize, do all of these things. They only just need to put a black face and be behind it.
Right.
And then they carry the agenda of whatever thing that they want to do. But right now, that's why I say I hold black people highly accountable. Like we should hold ourselves accountable. Yeah. Because I'm not pointing no finger. I don't want to point no fingers to no white people. All of these things, we should be the one that should, be responsible and accountable for whatever thing that we are going through right now. Because who is going to be accountable for us and be responsible for us? Nobody but ourselves. So the more I'm hearing feedback, I don't know where it's coming from. I'm hearing feedback. Yeah. So I don't know where that is coming from and all of that. So you see, so we really need to come to the point where we actually needs to be, to grow above feelings and emotions. Because this is where, black people play on other black people through feelings and emotions. They come, they overwork, they work on each other's feelings and emotions. And because we are really kind-hearted people, by nature, that's who we are. But some of us have turned to be something else, due to years of brainwashing and indoctrination. So now you've become, and you've now have the same mindset and spirit or whatever thing with your oppressors, and now you act like one. So you see, so you're doing exactly the same thing that you're complaining that the oppressors are doing to you. Now you're not the oppressors. So we have to be checking ourselves so that we are not the oppressors. Are we the oppressors? Or we are actually trying to liberate ourselves and undo this indoctrinatory mindset that has been enforced on us over the years? Because some people think that, it will take time, because this is not something that was done to us 4 years ago, 2 years ago. This is something that, it has been there constantly. So it will take a lot of time for us to undo these things. And that is where we need to really have patience, in as much as I'm holding out us really hard, because there's no time. We really need to get over this thing. We really need to try harder, put extra effort, into work, and not to be lazy about, sit down there and then just lazy about. You see what I'm saying? So we need to work. So, but regardless, we still need patience, but we still need to work. so that we don't give, lousy or, excuses about everything. And then nobody's getting the job done and nothing is happening. We are not moving forward. We are just stagnant. We are stuck there, no changes, no nothing. We still go in circle and in circle. So I blame us for virtually most of the things that is happening. Why? Because we have allowed, or we allowed these things to happen. And that is why I say we can no longer be quiet, or quietness is really dangerous. To be quiet about a lot of things. Look at what quietness has done to us. Look at what it has done, put us through on the continent of Africa, because we've always been quiet and be accepting everything. They put certain things, they put it under culture, and we accepted it. And now look at what the damage is doing to us. No one is challenging it. No one is calling them out. No one is saying, no, let's take a second look into this matter. Let's look into it, so that it will benefit everybody. Before, it was a community mindset. But now look at the type of mindset we all have. It is no longer about the collective or the community. It's about me and me and me and me and me. So you see, so this is where we are damaging ourselves. And we need to change it. Because now you saw the video that I did about, Nigeria and bleaching products. Now I think it's a crime. I think it is a crime for Nigeria to be having bleaching product, or any African country. I think it should be a crime. It should be seen as a crime, because this is a natural, this is our natural self, our natural being. How do you bring a toxic chemical or product or things like that to come and erase natural to artificial? It should be a crime against humanity. So these people that are shipping this thing here, it should be a crime. So this is where I say, look, those people who are defending, but again, it is our fault. Why are we allowing it? And this is where the Minister of Health, this is where you know that they don't really care about us. So that's why we should teach each other and don't depend on the government, because the government really care just about themselves. So we should not have the mindset of this quote unquote government, but we should have the mindset of this quote unquote government that is happening right here. Not that type of government that is for themselves, and that type of government that they set up this government without our consent. Were you there when they were setting up this government? Did they ask for your permission when they were setting up this government? They did not. So you see, it was just a group of people that came and decided for everybody, saying that they're representatives. They're all of this. I did not make such decision. I wasn't there. I came and I saw this type of government. So the government that I used to know before, our ancestors used to, is a government of the collective, the community. But now it has changed. It's now the government of a collective and just a few that decide for the majority. And the majority, which is actually the government, have allowed this nonsense to happen for so long. Now it does not look like they are too powerful, that we can no longer, we don't have a say. Our freedom is being taken away from us. And we are suffering and paying for our laziness and our unconscious decision that we made as government, the real government, the people. So we are suffering it. So we should hold ourselves accountable. We should be blamed. We are the ones suffering it. So what are we willing to do right now to bring about change? What are we willing to do right now? Because we cannot be complaining about the system, the government, and all of these things, and don't do anything, because complain does not get anything done. But we really need to take steps. And what are these steps are we going to take that will actually bring about change? So that is part of the solution I would like to hear, and then we can close with that. Yeah,
You know, it kind of remind me of, like, young man, you might know about when Farrakhan did the Million Man March. You see how many people march, men, all ages, young and old, march to Washington, right? I feel like this. It's so many of us all over. Why we all can't get on the plane? Get on the plane and go fight with the cause with our brothers and sisters on the continent. We fight for every other dumb thing that don't make sense. We spend our money on dumb things that don't make no sense. Why we can't go as a collective from here all over. I'm talking about the Caribbean, Haiti, Brazil, everywhere where we at, and pick up and get on the plane and fly out and get. They can't kill all of us. They can't kill and take down the government, tear it down. I mean, literally tear it down. Because if that happens, guess what? When people start seeing it and they start clicking, oh, we need to join in. We can fight as a whole, as a whole. You know what I'm saying? For something that's right and something that belongs to us. The motherland belongs to us. That's our mother. She gave birth to us. Now in return, we need to save her life and the lives of her people, our people. Forget this here over here. This is not ours. Even though we were all over the world, but that home is ours, our roots. We had roots there. Yes, we started roots here, but that was out of force because a lot of us didn't want to go back. We didn't know how to get back. The first thing how to start because we were so busy stuck in master's house. We didn't even know we were free. When I learned about the Juneteenth, we didn't know we were free till how many 2 years later? We didn't know. We were stuck here. And we still stuck here. We stuck here. The chains may left here, but the chains didn't leave here. Once these go clink, 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 we'll start getting the balls rolling. We need some community meetings. We need some private town meetings what's her name? Sojourner Truth what's the woman's name? I don't even know all of them. That's a shame. But we need some of these meetings. Come and get some of these young people, some of these strong, wise men. Let's start stepping up to the plate, fellas. Stop leaving it all up to the women. Let's get these men in here, cause we don't want to if we're gonna lose our lives, we're gonna lose it with our men. But come on, let's start fighting. Take it, my brother.
No problem. You're on point, sis. You're on point. Now, my solution. This is what I agree with. I agree with both of y'all. But I wanna say this. Number one, let's get to our children. Let's make them have African consciousness. We need African consciousness. We need to put in African consciousness to our children because our children are growing up thinking white is better. We got to show, like in my house, let me tell you, let me look what I got. This is the Pan-African flag. This represents Africa, right? Red for the blood, the black for our people, and the green that represent Africa. Marcus Garvey gave us, our black man gave us our own flag. And he said that, and I remember Umar Johnson said this, and this is what I've been saying too. He said, America, United States of America, do not respect populations, they respect nations. And I always say, this is the reason my channel called my channel called RBG Nation, because I represent a nation. We are a nation. Africa is when we say we are a nation. So just like we got Chinatown over here, right? They are backed up by a nation. You got Little Italy in America, right? They are backed up by a nation.
By nation,
right? So that's what I'm saying. We need to become a nation of people. So when we see our brothers coming from the motherland, we gotta treat them with respect. You got a lot of these suckers out here. They call it black folks that bang on African people from home, And then they want to say, "Oh, we're not like them." Yes, we are. We the same. I don't get, but those black folks, I don't get to it. These so-called black Americans, they want to come. I don't talk to them because they so brainwashed. It makes me sick to my stomach. You know what I'm saying? So we got to start mistreating our people, and we got to start uniting. But we got to get to our children first, because one thing about the government, and I know this, my sister remember this. When the Black Panther Party, what did the government do? They did not want the Black Panther Party to get to our children because they did. But remember the food program? And remember the food program? And they was like, oh, they teaching their children to hate America. Yeah. So what? So it's okay to hate on another country, but when it comes down, or another race of people, but when white people do it, it's okay. But when we do it, it's a problem. So we got to get to our children. That's number one. We got to make them more have African install in African consciousness, and we got to keep things black. We got to have more black movies that represent and tell our history. I'll see movies like 300. You see the Trojan horse, all these Greek and Rome ancient histories they put in our movies, right? But when they show Africa, what they talk about, they look at slavery or they show the poor parts of Africa. That's why I watch a lot of Nollywood movies, because they show the beautiful parts of Africa. I'm like, damn.
Yes,
And big happens too. And I say, wow. And number two, Africa gotta control their resources. We gotta go over there and we gotta help control their resources. They just found a bunch of gold in the Congo. All that gold they found in the Congo is like a mountain full of gold. We gotta control the resources, because every race they come over there, that's what they get into. They get into the resources. They raping Africa.
But they use the people. They use the people on the continent, the poorest that they can find. They do this to them, and they use our people to give it to them. And then these people that are coming over speaking in their language, because we don't understand what they say, and they laughing while we giving it over.
Right, sis. We gotta get
right. Just to add to what you're saying, and this is to continental Africans, right? And particularly continental Africans who love Europe. I mean, basically, Europe and the West is their home, because that's where they are, and that's where they're giving their intellect, their energy, everything, and all they do is to complain about Africa, the insecurity. They complain about the electricity. They complain about everything. I say, these people, you have no say. You shouldn't be talking. You should be quiet. Because first, and then many of continental Africans, including myself, you have smoke for African Americans. But how many of you are touching the gold? This gold he's talking about, is in Congo. The Chinese are touching it. They are mining it. They're in charge. How many of you continental Africans are touching these golds?
That's crazy.
You have mouth to talk. So when it comes to our own brothers and sisters, we have energy for them. We want to analyze. We want to do this. We want to go to the Chinese, go to the Congo, go to these places and analyze these people and have smoke for them. Go and talk to them. You can't talk to them. They're busy mining your gold. They're busy doing all of these things. But then you have energy. And you have all of these things. This is not to say that I don't hold out. I hold our people, every one of us, accountable. We must be responsible for whatever things that we are doing. But sometimes when I say certain things, it is out of love. And our people don't want to see things from, a logical perspective, rather they go off of emotion. But I also hold us and myself accountable, because we must begin to see things differently. You understand? So when an African brother from the diaspora trying to come back, they are adding value. You're over there, you're adding value to Europe and the West. So shut up your mouth and keep your some of you bring is your cups. They bring your cups. We don't need your cups. They can bury you over there. We don't need you. Stay there. Let them pay, because when you have all the wealth, everything, you spend it in all these places. Just like Putin said, I will always remind you what he said, and that's a fact. You go to Dubai, you go to these places, you buy properties everywhere, in Europe and the West, and then when you die, they bring your ass to Africa. No, we don't need that ass. Let them bury it right there. Bury it there. We don't need dead corpse that will not add no value to the continent of Africa.
Right.
So wherever you're adding value to, you should be there and be buried over there. Don't come here. Your corpse is no longer needed. We don't need it. Stay there. Of what use it is to Africa? Dead people don't do anything. So what is the use? Why are they bringing your corpse back here? They should keep it there. That is where you added value to. Stay there. So it is time for us to stop complaining and having smoke for ourselves and one another because of you were hurt about what someone did to you. It's personal. It is personal. Judge it from a personal perspective. Don't come here generalizing and fighting everybody. Judge it from. That's why I think a lot of our people are delusional. You have someone who is in Europe fighting over continental, someone who is already on the continent. This person in Europe is adding no value to the continent of Africa. This is to the foolishness of some continental Africans. You see, the ones on the continent are adding value. They're spending their money, they're doing all of these things, buying properties and doing on the continent, adding value and helping the locals. And you tend to go to someone who is in Europe, have no vision to come to the continent, no plans, no nothing, is investing in Europe and the West. Everything is over there, and you listen and you follow such people, to their foolishness, and you want to fight the people who are doing the job on the continent. I think we are stupid, and this is the ignorance is crazy, and this is where we need to correct certain things. We have to correct it. So I don't listen to foolishness. You cannot be in the West and all of those places, adding all those value and everything, and then you want to control what happens here on the continent. Then you must be delusional. You must be delusional. And this is why I say continental Africans, you are easily misled. You follow too easily. Anybody who is adding economic value to your continent. Is it the one in Europe that is not doing anything, or the one on ground on the continent? We need foot soldiers. We don't need no YouTube soldiers. Don't come here with that YouTube soldiers. I'm sick of it. You know all the problem that is happening on the continent of Africa only on YouTube. But when people who are on ground showcasing, doing the job, I'm not talking about YouTubers now. I'm talking about people on ground. But then we want to attack them.
She's frozen?
She frozen. That
Yeah.
happens every time she comes out with something real strong. it happens all the time.
I,
And
I was
she's
gonna
right.
yeah, I was gonna add a few things too. One of the solutions. Number one, we have to marry each other, right? All this interracial relationship.
Exactly.
because
Yes.
that because they over there, there's like, especially in South Africa, those white people, they trying to marry all those black people and all that stuff, and well, a lot of the times, they, like I said, black people looking for a quick come up, so they'll marry off
Hmm.
their daughters and their sons to these
Yes.
foreign
I
white
noticed
and
that.
yellow people, and you
Hmm.
just be like, and that's not going to help, because when you marry them, you marry their whole race. So your wealth,
Exactly.
whatever wealth you got, they get that.
I keep explaining why not, no. I have my brother. We talk about the same thing. But we are all one people. We came from each other. I said, who
No.
said that? I said,
Mm-mm.
who said that? I said, their DNA and our DNA are two different DNA. We don't have the same DNA.
Two different
And
species.
when you laying up with these here, I call them beasts. When you laying up with these beasts, you don't know what you're doing with your blood. A
Hmm.
black woman, I know it's a TV movie star. No, she's a TV talk show host. She's married to a Jewish man.
Mhm.
She had to take all of these needles in order to get pregnant by this man because I
Oh.
don't know if it was, I think it's called the RH, the her blood and his blood. Something was
Mhm.
fighting each other where she couldn't get pregnant by this man, so she had to take all these injections and stuff like that. That
Mhm.
goes to show you we're not supposed to be procreating with anybody outside of ourselves. I was just talking to my friend about that today. I said, you know what? You may say that I'm racist. You may say that I hate my white counterparts. I said I don't hate them. I dislike them, but I won't deal with them, but I won't mistreat them either because of the type of person that I am. But I won't be mixing my seed with them.
Mhm.
No. I said when it comes down to inheritance, it deals also not just with family, with money. Because
Mhm.
the minute they mingle with us, they have our children, the women that deal with these their spouses for so long. Look at Hollywood. They set them, move them marriages up. After them white women get what they need and suck them up and make those men go crazy,
Mhm.
then they take their children, raise them white, not black. They
Yep.
raise them white, and guess what they do? They walk off with all the money, and the money goes to their people.
That's the art of war.
That's the
That's the
whole.
art of war.
That's the whole thing about it. That's why we should be teaching our children to marry within each other, our own.
That's right.
I don't mind having me a Nigerian man, or if I like Ghana, but I love Nigeria. That's my home, and that's where my husband's going to come from. Okay, I'm telling the whole world, and my American brothers and sisters don't like it too bad, but I'm gonna give me the real deal.
My whole thing
Cause
is, as
we
long as they
kind of
black, I
hoarded
don't
over
care. As
here.
long as they African, I don't care. I don't care what you could be
Long as
abroad.
they treat me, long as they
I
treat
don't
me
care.
good, respect me, I'm going to be there to support them. Because guess what? A lot of our sisters is going to the continent finding good men, and some of them may not have much. But if you can hold down a nigga in jail, why you can't hold up one of them brothers that's trying on the continent?
Hmm. That's right. Facts.
Okay? I
Facts.
don't care if nobody don't like it, but we have to keep the love amongst ourselves. Stop spreading our love amongst everybody else and keep it home. Keep it in house. That's where it's supposed to be. I believe in love. I believe in inheritance. I believe in unity. I believe in growth and building with each other. We need to start building. Stop tearing down our homes, but rebuilding it. That's the purpose. That's the solution. Unite, unification. That's her name, African Unite Force. She's one that's coming here to teach us these
That's right.
things about the continent, just like we're teaching her about what happens over here. And she's putting the pieces together. We should be doing it.
And I want to just add something that we have to be a selfish race. We have to be unapologetic. When I mean unapologetic, we got to stop worrying about what yellow people say, which is the Asians. We got to start worrying about what white people say, which is European. We shouldn't even care what they think or what they say. We shouldn't even care how they feel. Damn them. But that's our problem. We always worry about what white people think and what they might say, and they the one who come to us and give us these diseases, pushing homosexuality, which is not even our culture. But you got black people participating in, and then you want to know why black women catching HIV from down low Negroes. I gotta keep it plain. And this is what I always tell our sisters. No, we gotta learn from nature. You know who a real man is. Just like these dudes, you know what a real woman is. You know what I'm saying? But they get into that Greek and Roman lifestyle, and they pushing that crap on us, and then we're dying. We're dying physically, we dying mentally, psychologically. It's a mess. But we gotta start being unapologetic. We gotta stop caring what other races think. And yes, we have to unite. Africans for Africa for Africans. We got we got to unite with our brothers and sisters. A lot of us are coming back home. We're coming together. We're coming to this is beautiful. I love this. And this is what we are strong by numbers. We need the numbers. We have to be a strong race. We got to be unapologetic.
Yeah, Miriam Jones, you said, and now he wants to make money in Africa and take it back to Europe. Who is this? What are you referring to? Who is this person making money in Africa and want to take it back to Europe? I don't know about this person. I don't know about this person. So yeah, in general, what I'm saying and what we are saying in essence is that, we need to be responsible and accountable, and we need to work even more harder in actually be there for our children and be responsible for them, and take accountability for whatever mistakes that we've actually made as parents, and all those things. And we should be vocal with our voice so that we don't allow these institutions to be deciding, and to actually take our children away from us. You understand? Because they did not give birth to the children. We did, not institutions. They should not be setting up all these laws. The laws they are setting should be for their children and for their household. It should not be for me and my children. You understand? So, whatever thing they want to do, they can set societal law, but not law that in my household and all of these things. There can be law and orderliness, but you don't come and enforce all these things and take away my child from me, do all of these crazy things that is going on. It's really ridiculous. We are the ones that allowed it. So we have to take full responsibility for that. So we need to start, being more involved in these things and not be lackadaisical and just sit down there, look, and not do anything. So we need to start, because very, very, very strict when it comes to you know, stuff like that to just happen to them. Just like, our ancestors have allowed a lot of things to just happen to us, and today we are facing it. So we see the taste, it is not really nice. So we should be, make it more easier for our children, and we can start it by doing it right now. So thank you very much, each and every one of you that has come out, and particularly those in the panel. I really appreciate you, Enrique, one with from Pardon's side. Thank you so much for your insight and for your contribution. And our brother here, can you pronounce your name correctly? Is it the guy in Hollywood?
Yes, Guy Nollywood Jr. Y'all
Okay.
definitely subscribe to me,
You,
sis. Both of y'all subscribe to me. I'll subscribe to y'all. Let's stay in
oh,
contact.
all right. So, I mean, you please go ahead and subscribe to this brother. Go ahead and support his channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Go and click the subscribe button right now, and then all of that. If you want to put your link in the chat room, you can do that, please.
Okay.
The link to your channel, you can put it in the chat room.
Okay.
Yeah. So please go ahead and subscribe to this brother, and thank you very much, each and every one of you. I really appreciate all of you, and I thank you very much for actually tuning in. And those of you in the chat room, I appreciate you as well. So you all want to have a wonderful day. For those of you, I mean, for me, it is late, so I'll be going to bed. Then for for those of you, that your time is still here, so you want to start continue with your yeah. So have a wonderful day ahead and all of that. So I mean, we'll see very soon. And
All right.
then
Thanks
yeah,
for
so
inviting me. I appreciate it.
let's keep talking. Let's keep talking to each other. Let's keep
Definitely.
educating ourselves. Let's not allow third parties and all of this to come and divide us. You understand? Even if we're going hard on each other, let's take it in love, and not to
Hmm.
come and say, oh, then you come again with the Western mind to separate and say, you're not one of us, you don't love us, you don't do, and then you separate and cause more division.
Hmm.
So who is going to hold us accountable if we have to hold ourselves accountable at all times? So thank you, brother. Thank you, sister. My mama, not sister. This is my mama. right? So
Peace.
yeah, yeah, I love each and every one of you, you know, and let's keep showing that love. So, Mama, let's go off life, off life. You're not, yeah, you're muted. You're muted. So,
Ready?
yeah,
Here we go. Let's do it again. What's
let us,
cracking,
yeah.
lacking?
What's cracky right. So make sure you subscribe to my second channel, Back to Niger Village. You know, and I will see you guys very soon. Have a wonderful day and take care of yourself and
Good
goodbye. Bye
night.
bye.
Mm. Bye bye.
Yeah.